Let's go.
Well, Rob, what do you make of this whole situation? What's happened in the last 24 hours?
Oh, mate, it's most disappointing from our club's perspective. We went about this, and I'll bring everybody back to our original intent, which was to celebrate our history. You guys know how our football club was all formed. I'll leave you to fill in the gaps on that part of the history. But we were formed from all of the SANFL clubs, all 8 of them, plus Port Adelaide. And we saw this as an opportunity to celebrate and reflect on our heritage. So it's most disappointing. We got all the approvals necessary from both the SANFL and the AFL, and we had those rescinded last night. So we feel like we've lost an opportunity. Our players, our supporters, our members have lost an opportunity to celebrate that. We'd done our research, we thought, pretty well. We knew that West Coast had worn a state jumper back in 1997. We knew that Port Adelaide last year had sought and been given permission to wear their Guernsey to celebrate the last game at Amy Stadium last year. We thought it only fitting that we wore a state representative jumper at our first game at Adelaide Oval.
So, one of those key points about state jumpers is West Coast wore a state jumper that was no longer used by the state team. The big lesson here is you don't touch state jumpers, particularly when they're still in use by state teams. You are not a state team, so you shouldn't wear it.
Michelangelo, that's a very fair question. And look, we did underestimate the reaction, and particularly from our legends, who we have the utmost respect for, and they've had their say, and I respect that, and I think we would change the way we'd go about that.
The process is very much under question. The Commission never knew about it. John Olsen today says the SANFL was never told you were going to sell it. Where did all that fall through?
Well, that's a matter for them. We would not have launched a jumper that clearly we were going to commercialise without the full set of approvals. We got those, and yesterday, as you know, they were rescinded. So we now need to deal with that. Look, we've got plenty left in the armoury for our move to Adelaide Oval, and you know, we'll bring those out when and the appropriate time is.
Did you tell the SANFL you were going to sell the jumper? Because they're saying you didn't.
Look, that was a management issue between them. I don't know what the content specifically was around the discussions. All I know is that we would not have launched this particular Guernsey without the appropriate approvals, and we got those.
You've been very heavily criticised by your stakeholders as an SANFL entity that you didn't consult the SANFL clubs who have a high hold on that state jumper.
But that's the SANFL Commission's role. They represent the club, so we go to them. They're the owners of this IP, and we went to the appropriate source for the approval, and we got that.
So is Lee Wicker then culpable here that he didn't do his job?
Look, I don't think Lee's culpable. I don't think any individual's culpable, but if you're looking for culpability, that's not for me to say who's culpable, if there is any culpability.
Nevertheless, Rob, it looks like the club's been hung out to
the SANFL. And obviously that's probably all signed, and that's the thing. Have you considered, or did you consider perhaps challenging it and saying we're still going to wear it given you've said okay this?
Look, right up until the moment that it was rescinded, we were full steam ahead. Now, having said that, we have assessed the reaction. As I earlier mentioned, we do respect what the legends of our game, those that have worn this jumper previously with pride and distinction, have said. So I think this morning we would have had that meeting and reconsidered our position. I don't know what the outcome of that would have been, but we are, let me reinforce, disappointed that it has come to this, and we now need to go back to the drawing board.
Do you consider another jumper now? Do you have one on the board that you might consider?
Yeah, again, management will be looking at that, Neil, and I would imagine we'd go back to the tricolours, or the original tricolours of '91.
Yes, SANFL is stuffed up here?
Oh, that's not for me to say. As I'm going to repeat myself, I can see a few times here. We sought the appropriate approvals from the appropriate authority. We got that. So as far as we're concerned, we ticked all the right boxes. We got the permission that we needed to get, and we launched appropriately. The rescinding of that, we respect that. And actually, I get the reasons why the SANFL stated they have rescinded it. So I do have some empathy for that.
Rob, there's a backflip at AFL House as well. Have you got a problem there?
I'm not aware of the backflip at AFL House, but we certainly don't have a problem there. Let me reassure you of that. I heard someone mention the affairs of last year, and our relationship with AFL House, Andrew Demetrio, the Commission, is on solid ground.
They've had a few cracks over it.
Given there was a possibility to make some money for the club from from the sale of the jumper. Have you been compensated, or is there talk of compensation from someone anyway with the SANFL or SANFL?
There's no compensation. We haven't discussed that. That's a loss that we will wear. As you know, all clubs in the competition. And one of our main priorities after winning games and winning games of finals football is to increase our revenue and share of revenue so that we can go after what we're all seeking, which is to win a premiership.
Rob, you say you understand the reasons, but are you bloody angry about what's happened?
I'm angry that we sought approvals for all the right reasons. We thought there was a demonstrated history with West Coast and Port Adelaide last year. We didn't expect the reaction that we got. Maybe we did underestimate that. But I'm angry that we've lost that commercial opportunity, and I'm angry we've been put in this position now that we've 6 weeks out, we've got to go back to the drawing board.
No one's culpable?
Well, the culpability, is going to rest with somebody, I would suggest, but it's certainly not in our camp.
You found out on social media, Nigel Smart said, about this decision. Is that disappointing?
Say that again, Tom.
Nigel Smart said this morning that he found out Lee Wicker had overturned the decision by social media. Is it disappointing he didn't tell you first?
Well, look, I'm not sure how it all unravelled, Tom. Seriously, I was at an offsite all day yesterday, and the appropriate people informed me that the decision was overturned.
Rob, Nigel aggravated a lot of people on Wednesday with the announcement, particularly with his dismissive attitude about key stakeholders in SA footy. He didn't care about them. Have you counselled him about the way he presents the footy club from here?
Did he say he didn't care about stakeholders in South Australia?
In South Australia.
Yeah, clear.
And look, also when he was asked about how other people would feel about it, who are key stakeholders, I don't care.
Look, our club does care about all the stakeholders. We do take their thoughts into consideration, but at the end of the day, we pay Nigel and we make decisions in the best interests of our football club. Hey, secondary though, it is in the best interests of South Australian football, and you know that we've always held that as one of our key objectives. But look, Nigel is a very passionate Adelaide football ex-player, past board member, and now in operational management, and I think he's doing a great job for the Adelaide Football Club.
When the visual was presented of the jumper with all those names on it,
yes,
what was Lee told as to what those names would be?
Oh, look, I wasn't privy to that discussion. That was a discussion between Stephen and Lee. I'll go back to what I said before. All I know is that Stephen sought and Lee provided the necessary authorities for us to launch that jumper.
What sort of research did you do in terms of understanding what the state jumper meant to South Australians?
Oh, we looked back at the Western Australian example, rightly or wrongly. We looked back at the Port Adelaide, who sought and were given approval to wear their traditional jumper in the last game of last year to celebrate the last game at Amy Stadium. And we thought that was enough for us to put in a request to wear a state Guernsey that reflected our history and our heritage and where we came from as an amalgamation of all of the 9 SANFL clubs. And we got that because the AFL and the SANFL also thought that was appropriate.
Do you think now the major lesson here is you may have a heritage that's the 10 SANFL clubs of 1990, but you're actually not the state team?
Oh, look, I know where we came from. You guys know how and why all that came about. And clubs that, like Port Adelaide, have a long and celebrated history. And ours was born in 1990, again, for all the reasons that you know about. And we wanted to celebrate that we were an amalgamation of all those clubs way back then, 52 players on our list from all clubs, and we're now missing out on an opportunity to celebrate that past.
Just when you reflect on it, did you think it was right that you were going to field a side which was going to have the majority of it as Victorians in a South Australian jumper?
Absolutely. This wasn't a state Guernsey. It evolved from a position that was reflective of the 8 or 9 SANFL clubs. The fact that half of our team are from Victoria or from any other state in Australia, I think was irrelevant.
Thanks, guys.